nobody voted for him.
From signs to chants, the Us Not Musk movement is demanding elected officials remember who they work for.
It started for the congressional recess to say, you work for us, not Musk.
York County residents gather second time this year, protesting what they call unwanted influence from the tech billionaire.
Us Not Musk is taking on the changes that Elon Musk is making at all of the departments, all the cuts he's making. The campaign was really just about having a tremendous amount of visibility, saying that Musk doesn't do that. That's not his job.
Residents could be seen with signs reading "Not my co-president" and hashtag Us Not Musk. Their goal to send a loud message to Congress and local representatives.
It was designed for the recess specifically. People have seen the town halls, people across the country so frustrated and showing up in numbers that have never been seen.
And organizers say they're not stopping anytime soon.
Especially in an area that tends to be a little more conservative. We just hope to get people out, because if your representatives, if your senators, if they don't see you, then they don't know there's opposition.
He also asked he plans to make this a regular event to encourage residents in York County to come out, and that next event is scheduled for March 8th. In Rock Hill, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, let's talk some weather now. Turning now to your WCNC Charlotte weather impact forecast. And this is actually a live look over Lake Norman. It's gorgeous right now, but I don't know if today would be the day to take that boat out. We're tracking some wet weather this afternoon. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris. Chris, what are we expecting when it comes to that rain today, man?
It really is 2 to 6 that we see most of the rain across the entire area, Miles. So that means if you have any opportunity, any plans, I think especially for Charlotte, it's narrowed down to about 3 to 5, meaning most of the afternoon hours are actually going to stay dry for you. Now, we are going to see a lot more cloud cover as we continue hour by hour closer to that rain event. 74 degrees is the forecasted high for today. 75 in Lancaster, 77 in Schwab. Still warm. At least we have that. Much cooler in the mountains, though. And the big difference here is the cold front. Cold front's already pushed on through. We actually have it centralized right here around the foothills. Now, what's going to happen is we have a little bit of rain. It looks like a lot of the energy is behind this. That doesn't always happen, but we're going to start to see things form right along this line. We're already starting to see some false reads, some Doppler garbage really picking up, that we have some uplift already starting to form, and it's really starting after where we have that front, so right around the Shelby, Lincolnton, Salisbury area, down to everyone to the southeast, that we're going to have a chance for some thunderstorms. Let's get right to it. Over the next hour or so, that's where we're really going to start to see that rain move from the mountains to the foothills. By about 2 o'clock, I think you have active rain between Hickory, Lincolnton, over to Statesville. Charlotte should be dry up to that point. After 2, that's where we have our window of opportunity. That's why I'm opening it up. Let's actually detail more about 2:30 to 5 o'clock. That's where I think that we have the best potential. By 5, maybe the eastern zone, say around Mint Hill, you're seeing the last of those showers. By 6 o'clock, I think most of it's gone. The only exception, this could linger through Rockingham, Cheraw area in our final 2 counties. And last little bit of maybe even a rain snow mix possible up in the high country. I'm going to narrow it down even further. Check out this model run. Seeing about 4 o'clock looks to be the sweetest hour. It's at this point that you might have some embedded thunderstorms, where most of us along this line might have a quick little spurt of rain and really see nothing of it. But others could have a quick downpour. That's a big difference from just maybe a few sprinkles to a light rain shower to a torrential downpour. It depends where you are, especially east of I-77, as I think this thing gains a lot more speed, a lot more oomph, allowing for a better chance for a thunderstorm, some heavier rain. Overall, our futurecast rainfall showing up to about 1/10 of an inch. For some areas, we'll see over 1/4 inch, depending where you see those yellows and those oranges pop up on the radar. Now we talk about the second issue, the winds. Winds are going to be breezy outside of any thunderstorm potential. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those thunderstorms could provide some gusts over 40 miles per hour. That's technically a strong wind, and we're going to continue to keep that range for today. Overnight tonight, gusting from 30 to 40 miles per hour the higher you go up in elevation, and then things start to calm down through the overnight through Charlotte. We're heading into the windy months. March, April categorically are the windiest months that we have in Charlotte history. Now, our drought monitor comes out every Thursday. No improvement, but actually nothing has gotten worse. Everything pretty much stagnant. 89% of North Carolina is still under a dry to drought status, but fire danger is now an issue. The rain that we're going to see isn't enough to really help out any of the dry or drought-ridden conditions. So very high fire danger for today, and same thing for tomorrow for the Charlotte area. So keep that in mind. I think the winds are still going to be pretty breezy heading into the weekend as well. So don't do any burning if you don't need to. 72 degrees back again by Saturday. Great start to the Charlotte FC home opener, but then a dry cold front pushes through, bringing our highs back to the 50s. I need to point this out real quick. 26 degrees on Monday. That is going to be bone chilling compared to lows in the 50s that we had this morning, but then after that, back above freezing and even back to around 70 degrees. Another rain chance next Wednesday.
New tonight, a WCNC Charlotte investigation found the justice system failed to protect a Charlotte mother.
Because it was preventable.
It's all I cry every day for my child. She just ain't coming back.
During his investigation, our Nate Morabito uncovered a series of decisions and delays across state lines that allowed a fugitive to walk free. And now she's charged with murder. As a warning, you are about to hear 911 calls that are difficult to listen to.
She was a good girl.
LaShonda McClendon.
Her personality brought everybody close.
Treated her phone.
She was just always there to comfort you.
Like a lifeline, a way of staying connected to her family. When she'd call, her kids would listen.
My last phone call was my Wednesday with her.
On December 13th, McClendon's calls ended forever.
This girl just actually pulled a gun out on me and pointed it in my face.
But not before she first dialed 911 to report Ebony Rahman, an acquaintance she says threatened her life. Around 7:30 that morning,
she needed to be going to jail.
Charlotte Mecklenburg police responded to her plea for help. The responding officer took Rahman into custody, but not to charge her with any crime connected to the threat. Instead, when he ran her name through the National Crime Information Center database, he noticed Rahman was wanted by the York County Sheriff's Office, connected to shoplifting and criminal conspiracy charges from June.
She had an extraditable warrant out of South Carolina, took her downtown.
He drove the fugitive to jail, but then the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office turned her away. The officer returned Rahman to the scene. Less than 3 hours after McClendon called 911,
she's bleeding.
3 more people called dispatch.
She just shot it and then drove off.
All as the 42-year-old begged for help.
Please come. Please come on, please come on, please come on, please.
Yes, now. You okay?
Her mother received the call every parent dreads.
I cry every day for my child. She just ain't coming back, but I got her right here, though, in my heart, right here.
McClendon's family,
because it was preventable,
is now second-guessing every decision leading up to that moment.
Yeah, they let my mom down.
It seems like a failure.
Criminal defense attorney Tim Emery says this case is as shocking as it is sad.
It suggests that our systems are not effective and efficient at keeping us safe.
WCNC Charlotte's investigation found the lack of a single signature and the addition of one word allowed Rahman to avoid jail that morning. Turns out CMPD first served Rahman with her fugitive charges out of South Carolina in July, after they picked her up on a probation violation. That began a drawn-out process to secure a governor's warrant to bring her back to South Carolina. 90 days passed with no warrant, so prosecutors, as the law allows, dismissed the charge. Records show the York County Sheriff's Office didn't fill out the formal paperwork until late October. It then took more than a month to get the needed signatures in South Carolina before North Carolina officials could approve. Rahman, meanwhile, walked out of jail in November, still wanted, but free for the time being. That brings us back to the morning of December 13th. The Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office knew a governor's warrant was almost ready, But the agency says it could not hold Rahman because then Governor Roy Cooper hadn't signed it yet. He signed the paper 3 days later. That leads to the other issue.
I've never had a client who has been taken to the jail with an out-of-state warrant and then they just say, no, you're good to go. I've never seen that.
Mecklenburg County says the agency couldn't rearrest the woman on her outstanding fugitive charges in this instance because of the way she was labeled in NCIC after her July arrest.
It's like we really lost a best friend and a mom.
LaShunda McClendon's family is now paying the price. Their mom's voice silenced, but using theirs to make a call of their own.
I pray that the police system don't let another family down like they let us down.
The York County Sheriff's Office told us an uncommon MCSO policy, not the law, is why Mecklenburg County didn't hold Rahman while awaiting the governor's warrant. MCSO told us the agency, quote, empathizes with the family, but after a thorough review, all policies and procedures were followed. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, tonight, CMS leaders speaking out as President Trump supports a House budget proposal that would slash government funding. CMS says the proposed cuts threaten vital services and then it would impact thousands of students. Well, now parents and school leaders are asking our Tradisha Woodard, where's the money?
Well, CMS leaders say without proper funding, academics and health challenges will continue to grow. That's why they're encouraging U.S. representatives to protect what they're calling critical benefits.
All they're going to do is just fall through the cracks and be swept to the wayside.
Students in underserved communities are no stranger to challenges.
Yeah, it's very hard for parents.
Challenges, CMS leaders say, don't define their future with hopes of turning trials to triumphs. At least when they walk through these doors.
We don't save the children, we don't have no future.
As the Trump administration continues to push for budget cuts, CMS board leaders like Stephanie Sneed asking U.S. representatives to pump the brakes.
The students that will be impacted the most are the students that need the most.
Sneed says if the budget passes, many CMS students with disabilities could lose access to Medicaid services they rely on for specialized support.
Speech pathology services, they need audiology services, they're students with disabilities, they're hearing, nurses, that's 17,000 students. 3,000 of those students are the most severe limitations that even have a nurse with them throughout the entire day.
Sneed says in addition, more than 40,000 students would also lose access to free or reduced school meals, the only meals some kids have to look forward to.
It is like a domino. All of these things rely upon each other. So therefore, we need to have all of these things in place if we're going to have the best for our students.
And CMS has already lost more than $7 million due to budget cuts, but they say no teachers or teacher leader positions will be impacted by the loss. Reporting outside of CMS headquarters, Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Tonight we Now back to the news, just into our newsroom, updating this. Ardrey Kell High School principal Jamie Brooks telling families in the last hour of a new school threat. Brooks writing that a threat was written on the walls of some of the bathrooms inside the school. We're told law enforcement is now investigating. Principal Brooks reminding parents that all threats have very serious consequences, getting this in the last couple of minutes, adding that any student that makes a threat is in violation of the CMS Code of Student Conduct and will be disciplined accordingly, including the potential for criminal charges. More to come on this. So as this is all happening, parents are speaking out. They say they were not told about threats to multiple schools for nearly 5 whole days. Drew Owens was arrested last week after police say he sent threatening emails to these schools. Police say the charges come after an intensifying pattern of threats over the last 4 years. WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker has been following this evolving situation. He spoke to students today who tell him they still have a lot of questions.
One Audrey Hill high schooler spoke with me earlier today, 1 week after these threats were made, and still she and parents say that they are left with not the full story. For many parents within CMS,
I was shocked.
they are still working to come to terms
I know a lot of parents are very angry. It's broken trust.
with how they are finding out information about a series of threats sent to 4 separate CMS schools, saying they were kept in the dark.
So it happened on Sunday. Monday was President's Day, so there was no school. But then, they went to school on Tuesday. No, parents weren't given the option of, talking to their children or keeping them home if they wanted to. We had no idea.
According to police, on Sunday, February 16th, they received reports saying an anonymous account was threatening violence at 4 different CMS schools: West Charlotte High School, Audrey Kell High School, Community House Middle School, and Hawk Ridge Elementary. Arrest records show days later on the 19th, 31-year-old Drew Owens was arrested and charged with communicating threats of mass violence on educational property.
CMS made absolutely no statement until after the story was covered in the press.
Parent Brooke Weiss says she found out about it through a circulating arrest record and not from the district. The school district eventually sending out a statement Thursday night, and 4 days later,
I deeply apologize. That
CMS Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill addressing families on Monday.
Our team met this morning for an after-action review to pinpoint the communication lapse and make the necessary improvements.
It's an apology Weiss and her daughter don't believe.
Because there's a lot that goes on in schools that families and parents don't know is happening.
She says speculation has been swirling among staff and students.
I was even talking to a teacher about it earlier today, how we're not told every time that it is because they find stuff out and they do their thing and they think no harm, no foul, nothing actually happened. We don't need to know.
A very intense situation for both families and students this time. After that video was sent by CMS, we did reach out asking more clarification questions, specifically about protocol. When there is a threat that is made, what is the time frame they are supposed to and instructed to notify not only those students but families as well? And we did not hear back. We do know that Owens is set to be in court Thursday morning at 10 a.m. In Charlotte, Austin Walker, WCNC Charlotte.
Recent numbers tonight from Lending Tree, they show while still small, the percentage of Black-owned U.S. businesses continues to grow year over year. The latest available data to us shows that more than 3% of these businesses that were Black-owned in 2022. That's up from 2.7% in 2021. Tonight, WCNC Charlotte's Nick Sturdivant shows us how 2 Charlotte brothers are investing in themselves, using their last dollar to start a real estate media business.
Both Justin
make sure all the lights are on
and Jason Hare have an eye for detail, which is why when Jason spotted an opportunity, he jumped at it.
And I ran across an ad on YouTube of somebody taking pictures of a house, and we would look at house tours, on YouTube and stuff. So, but you never think, okay, somebody's behind the camera.
I thought it was a good idea because he showed me the video, and I was like, okay, that looks like it'll be something cool. Because like you said, we used to always go look at YouTube videos of houses.
With just a few $1,000s left to his name, Jason.
I probably spent my last, I would say, $4,000 on equipment. We bought a mentor course and everything like that. The course was my last $500 to be exact.
And Justin went from brothers to business partners, launching Go Premium Real Estate Media in 2021.
Me personally, when I do shoots, I like to start, if it's 2 stories, I like to start upstairs and work downstairs.
They say they started out taking photos of empty houses, eventually reaching out to realtors.
It didn't take off immediately, so I would say maybe 6 months to a year is when we started seeing some progress.
The brothers say they slowly built a client base. Candace Marks and Matt Norman are realtors in the area and Go Premium's clients.
They actually reached out to me through social media, and my slogan's persistence overcomes resistance. And at first I wasn't looking for any new contractors, and the more they kept hitting me up, I started to realize these guys got something.
They're young and they are go-getters and they do what they say they're gonna do. So that's what also, just inspired me just to continue to help them, and they deliver, man.
The brothers say they went from 2 shoots a month to now, at times, 10 shoots a day.
Busy season, we hit at least 20K a month.
These days, they have their eyes set on both growth and quality.
I kind of want to be like the Chick-fil-A of, real estate photography.
Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Nick Sturdivant.
Oh, that's what betting on yourself looks like. The Hare brothers say a big goal for them is to hire more people for their business. You can find more on Go Premium right now inside WCNC Charlotte, our news app.
WCNC Weather Impact, your trusted source for winter weather and beyond.
We're committed to keeping you safe, informed, and weather aware.
From frost and freezes to snow, the WCNC Weather Impact team tells you the timing and the essentials you need to know. Get the up-to-date forecast on your schedule, always streaming on WCNC Plus.
Your Weather Impact team only on WCNC Charlotte.
Stream now on WCNC Plus.
And tonight, school choice is one step closer to becoming a reality in South Carolina. Today, the State House debated it for hours, just weeks after it was passed by the state Senate.
The bill would allocate funding to students in South Carolina, giving parents the ability to choose where their child goes to school. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King listened in on that debate and joins us now in studio. So Anna, this is a very controversial bill.
That's right. Supporters say it empowers families with more educational options, but critics argue that even with this choice, barriers like transportation could leave some students without access to better schools. So while many lawmakers are pushing for this change, just as many are pushing back.
I think for the small amount of money we're talking about relative to the total spend of education, it's worth taking a risk to see if we could do something better with it.
A bill that refuses to stay buried. Senate Bill 62 is back on the table.
Why are we going back, playing the same game in terms of trying to bring back vouchers in this state?
The school choice debate is reignited. Originally shut down by the South Carolina Supreme Court, the bill got a second chance when state senators approved a revised version. And Wednesday, the debate reached the State House once again. The Supreme Court initially ruled parts of the bill violated the state's constitution by directing public funds to private institutions. To address this, lawmakers are working to restructure the funding.
The funding does not come from the EIA. It does not come for allocated funding to our public schools.
Instead, the funding would come from a trustee, technically sidestepping the public funding issue. This change also increased the scholarship amount to $6,000. That those for it argue can go toward tuition, transportation, technology, and uniforms. However, those against the bill argue choice not being an option for some students because access to the schools would not be possible for students in rural areas. And because private schools have the ability to be selective, the potential for discriminatory acceptance is a possibility.
And the bill passed its first reading in the House today and will continue to move forward.
All right, Anna, thank you for that.
Meantime, tonight, new questions surrounding potential changes for Medicare recipients. Some are wondering whether they'll still have access to telehealth options in the months to come.
Yeah, some members say that they've read that they may lose those benefits by the start of April. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies what you should know.
We had a WCNC viewer ask, there are numerous reports on social media that Medicare is eliminating telehealth service as of April 1st. Is this true? Let's verify. Our source is Congress.gov and the Medicare program. Medicare telehealth services were set to expire on December 31st, 2024. At the end of the year, U.S. Congress passed the American Relief Act, which was signed into law by former President Joe Biden. This act keeps the government funded through mid-March and also includes a short-term extension on Medicare telehealth flexibilities. The extension is set to end on March 31st. The Medicare website states that starting April 1st, you must be in an office or if you live in a rural area, can be in a medical facility for most telehealth services. There are expectations to the rule, which you can find inside this article on our app. So we can verify that, yes, as of now, Medicare telehealth services are set to expire on April 1st. There is a chance Congress can extend that deadline. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
When severe weather impacts the Carolinas, you can help us tell the story.
Our radar helps to keep you weather aware, along with images like these. Here's how to send us a video or picture of conditions impacting your area.
Make sure you're in a safe spot. Take a picture or video, then send it to the Near Me feature on our WCNC News app.
Your image could be part of our weather impact coverage. Download the WCNC News app now.
All right, let's talk some weather now. Turning now to your WCNC Charlotte weather impact forecast. And this is actually a live look over Lake Norman. It's gorgeous right now, but I don't know if today would be the day to take that boat out. We're tracking some wet weather this afternoon. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris. Chris, what are we expecting when it comes to that rain today, man?
It really is 2 to 6 that we see most of the rain across the entire area, Miles. So that means if you have any opportunity, any plans, I think especially for Charlotte, it's narrowed down to about 3 to 5, meaning most of the afternoon hours are actually going to stay dry for you. Now, we are going to see a lot more cloud cover as we continue hour by hour closer to that rain event. 74 degrees is the forecasted high for today. 75 in Lancaster, 77 in Charlotte. Still warm. At least we have that. Much cooler in the mountains, though. And the big difference here is the cold front. Cold front's already pushed on through. We actually have it centralized right here around the foothills. Now, what's going to happen is we have a little bit of rain. It looks like a lot of the energy is behind this. That doesn't always happen, but we're going to start to see things form right along this line. We're already starting to see some false reads, some Doppler garbage really picking up that we have some uplift already starting to form, and it's really starting after where we have that front, so right around the Shelby, Lincolnton, Salisbury area, down to everyone to the southeast, that we're going to have a chance for some thunderstorms. Let's get right to it. Over the next hour or so, that's where we're really going to start to see that rain move from the mountains to the foothills. By about 2 o'clock, I think you have active rain between Hickory, Lincolnton, over to Statesville. Charlotte should be dry up to that point. After 2, that's where we have our window of opportunity. That's why I'm opening it up. Let's actually detail it more about 2:30 to 5 o'clock. That's where I think that we have the best potential. By 5, maybe the eastern zone, say around Mint Hill, you're seeing the last of those showers. By 6 o'clock, I think most of it's gone. The only exception, this could linger through Rockingham, Cheraw area in our final 2 counties. And last little bit of maybe even a rain snow mix possible up in the high country. I'm going to narrow it down even further. Check out this model run. Seeing about 4 o'clock looks to be the sweetest hour. It's at this point that you might have some embedded thunderstorms, where most of us along this line might have a quick little spurt of rain and really see nothing of it. But others could have a quick downpour. That's a big difference from just maybe a few sprinkles to a light rain shower to a torrential downpour. It depends where you are, especially east of I-77, as I think this thing gains a lot more speed, a lot more oomph, allowing for a better chance for a thunderstorm, some heavier rain. Overall, our futurecast rainfall showing up to about 1/10 of an inch. For some areas, we'll see over 1/4 inch, depending where you see those yellows and those oranges pop up on the radar. Now we talk about the second issue, the winds. Winds are going to be breezy outside of any thunderstorm potential. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those thunderstorms could provide some gusts over 40 miles per hour. That's technically a strong wind, and we're going to continue to keep that range for today. Overnight tonight, gusting from 30 to 40 miles per hour. The higher you go up in elevation, and then things start to calm down through the overnight through Charlotte. We're heading into the windy months. March, April, categorically are the windiest months that we have in Charlotte history. Now our drought monitor comes out every Thursday. No improvement, but actually nothing has gotten worse. Everything pretty much stagnant. 89% of North Carolina is still under a dry to drought status, but fire danger is now an issue. The rain that we're going to see isn't enough to really help out any of the dry or drought-ridden conditions. So very high fire danger for today, and same thing for tomorrow for the Charlotte area. So keep that in mind. I think the winds are still going to be pretty breezy heading into the weekend as well. So don't do any burning if you don't need to. 72 degrees back again by Saturday. Great start to the Charlotte FC home opener, but then a dry cold front pushes through, bringing our highs back to the 50s. I need to point this out real quick. 26 degrees on Monday. That is going to be bone chilling compared to lows in the 50s that we had this morning, but then after that, back above freezing and even back to around 70 degrees. Another rain chance next Wednesday.
Well, it's time to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. Schools nationwide have exactly 1 week to ban diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or face the consequences.
So what could happen if schools defy President Trump's order? Let's connect the dots. In a letter, President Trump says schools must eliminate the programs or risk losing federal funding. That includes everything from admissions and hiring to scholarships and graduation ceremonies. The move has sparked confusion and concern among educators. Some worry it could mean the end of culture resource centers, student clubs, and special programs for marginalized groups. Others say the broad language makes it unclear how schools are supposed to respond. Legal experts say the letter doesn't carry the force of the law, but signals the administration's strict stance on diversity in education. Some schools may fight back in court, while others scramble to adjust policies. For now, the deadline remains February 28th, but legal challenges could delay enforcement. And that's connecting the dots.
can be some confusion when it comes to Social Security benefits and who qualifies for them. There have recently been claims that benefits may even be going to millions of people who've died.
Yeah, one such person making that claim is President Trump's billionaire ally, Elon Musk. So what's true here?
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
Our sources, the Social Security Administration, the U.S. Treasury, and Gary Money, attorney and partner at Money PLLC. After the claim by Musk, the new head of the Social Security Administration just denied claims that older Americans who have passed on are still getting payments. According to the SSA, those eligible for Social Security benefits as a worker include people 62 or older or a person with a disability or blindness. You also have to have enough work credits, which depend on your age and how long you've worked. Spouses and children can also get benefits if you both meet specific qualifications.
The amounts of the payments are based on what you've paid in to the system over a period of time, and then on your age when you elect to receive the benefits.
Part of the mix-up is because the Social Security software system has a lack of date type. This means some entries with missing or incomplete birth dates can default to a point of more than 150 years.
Their computer systems are antiquated. And as a result of that, information from one area was not feeding over to another area. That didn't mean that people were actually getting a check. It just means that if you were to go to that particular database, you might see people with some ages that are being counted from way back when they should have been cut off at the year 2000.
Officials have already been investigating this. A 2023 audit by the SSA Office of the Inspector General found 18.9 million Social Security number holders born in 1920 or earlier were not marked as deceased. And just last month, the U.S. Treasury said it was able to stop and recover more than $31 million in improper Social Security payments to dead people. The Treasury projects it will recover more than $215 million during its 3-year access period. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
During the pandemic, false claims spread about young athletes suffering from heart problems after getting COVID vaccine. So what does the science actually say?
A new study is debunking a major vaccine conspiracy theory. Let's connect the dots. During the pandemic, false claims allege the young athletes were suffering heart problems and dying after getting COVID vaccines. But a new 6-year study shows no increase in cardiac arrests among athletes before and after the vaccines were introduced. Researchers compared cases from 2017 to 2022 and found no spike in sudden cardiac deaths. In fact, most cases of cardiac arrest in young athletes are linked to underlying heart conditions, not vaccines. While COVID vaccines carry a small risk of heart inflammation, studies show the virus itself poses a much greater danger. And for athletes who do develop myocarditis, new guidelines now allow them to return to sports sooner if symptoms improve. Experts say the science is clear. COVID vaccines do not cause cardiac arrest in athletes, and that's connecting the dots.
WCNC Charlotte is making a difference with your help. When you share your news tips, we go to work.
I sent you that email. 15 minutes later, you're responding to me.
When a Charlotte woman battling cancer lost her health coverage, we demanded answers.
Within hours of WCNC Charlotte asking questions, the agency responsible quickly corrected its mistake.
Let us get to work for you.
Reach out to news tips at WCNC.com. WCNC Charlotte, news that impacts you.
When your weather impact team is up here giving you your forecast, we use a lot of weather jargon, especially when it comes to winds. Let's bust out the weather dictionary and raise your windy weather IQ. Let's start with breezy versus windy. These two common weather words match with actual wind speeds. According to NOAA's weather glossary, breezy means winds sustained at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Windy overlaps slightly with sustained winds between 20 to 30 miles per hour. It's very windy at 30 to 40 mile per hour speeds, and any sustained wind over 40 miles per hour is considered a high or strong wind. The key word for all of these terms is sustained, which means the average wind speed's over 2 minutes. Wind gusts are a sudden brief increase in wind, less than 20 seconds. So when the weather is gusty, it means that there's a lot of wind fluctuations throughout the day. Blustery is another term meteorologists use. This has the same definition as breezy, winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. But this term is more commonly used during the colder months since it describes the chilliness of the wind. Ever hear people say gale force winds? This is more of a nautical term, but a technical gale means winds at 39 to 46 miles per hour. Winds at 47 to 54 miles per hour is a severe gale. Terms like gale originate from the Beaufort wind scale. The Beaufort wind scale was created by Admiral Sir Francis Beaufort back in the early 1800s to help sailors estimate the winds via what they see. This 0 to 12 scale, ranging from calm to hurricane force, is still used in modern day to estimate wind strengths. There are a lot more advanced meteorological wind terms like gradient, geostrophic, and veering, but we're going to keep those in the weather dictionary for the time being. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy.
A new studio in Camp North End has become a creative hub for artists to come together and capture content. And this is the vision of three brothers who started their entrepreneurship journey back in 2016.
WCNC Charlotte's anchor Nick Sturdivant caught up with them and shares how they're also using their influence to promote Black history all year long.
Khalil, as the oldest, wanted to be able to kind of create a structure for us that we would be able to benefit from.
Najim?
I just think of legacy when, like, we're able to have our own space with our name on it. Like, that's a blessing.
And Malik Lloyd.
We all understood that there was more to be gained from us working together rather than working separately.
Are not just brothers, but the faces of Lloyd Visuals, a video production agency birthed out of a love of the arts.
I appreciate growing up in Greensboro because in a small town, you really have to find your creativity. Like, there's not a lot of opportunity or locations.
From a young age, we were always together, performing together, doing things together.
In 2016, they ditched the 9-to-5 career to start the company.
I serve as the executive producer and co-founder, CEO, but I'm also the janitor.
This wouldn't be possible without my younger brother Malik, because he's the cinematographer.
And then Najim is our brand marketing manager.
In nearly a decade, they've been able to partner with ESPN and the NFL, along with doing projects in South America and Africa.
And figuring out how to help them connect with their target audience and how to really make sure that we're telling a culturally enriching and responsible story.
Last summer, the trio was able to make another dream come true, opening an office/studio space called Lloyd Studios. The Camp North End location is a creative hub for artists in the community to come together.
More opportunities for us to bring an even bigger set of community together. Whether that's through, workshops, festivals, things of that nature that we're just really passionate about.
One of the ways they're doing that is through their Black 365 campaign they launched recently.
We feel like we've, been subjugated to 1 month, but truly, Black culture should be celebrated all the time, quite frankly, because we control what's cool.
And Khalil told me they have a documentary coming out soon, and he also says they're looking to do more programming and social events at Lloyd Studios this year. For a closer look, head over to our website, WCNC.com, or download the WCNC Charlotte News app.
When severe weather impacts the Carolinas, you can help us tell the story.
Our radar helps to keep you weather aware, along with images like these. Here's how to send us a video or picture of conditions impacting your area.
Make sure you're in a safe spot. Take a picture or video, then send it to the Near Me feature on our WCNC News app.
Your image could be part of our weather impact coverage. Download the WCNC News app now.
Well, mortality rates for cancer appear to be going down. The American Cancer Society's 2025 annual report shows that there was a 34% decrease in deaths between 1991 and 2022.
And that report also shows that more women and young adults are being diagnosed with cancer. So what should you be aware of and how can you reduce that risk? Let's verify.
Our source is the American Cancer Society and Dr. Pyle Coley. While the numbers show there's more reasons to be optimistic when it comes to the prognosis for those diagnosed with cancer, another concerning trend has emerged. More women and younger adults are being diagnosed with cancer. The American Cancer Society says diagnosis rates in women under 50 are now 82%, which is higher than their male counterparts, up from 51% in 2002. Dr. Coley shares some insights on the cases that are trending the most.
So what we're seeing in our women is that we're seeing more hormone types of cancers like breast cancer and thyroid cancer. And what we're seeing in the young population overall is cancers of systems that really work to detox our body. So this is like colorectal cancer or pancreatic cancer, cancers of the detox organs in the body.
The American Cancer Society report also noted some racial disparities. Native Americans are 2 to 3 times higher than white people to die from kidney, liver, stomach, and cervical cancers. And Black people are twice as likely to die from prostate, stomach, and uterine corpus cancer compared to white people.
And this is a lack of adequate literacy and a lack of adequate screening resources in these populations. So certain things about them may be predisposing them to certain types of cancers, but it's really up to us to try to find those cancers early so that we can treat them more aggressively.
So what can you do to reduce your risk?
So I like to say the 4 sort of pillars of prevention are eat, what you eat, a nice healthy diet, sleep 7 to 9 hours a night, because that's when our cells repair themselves, move. So 30 minutes for at least 5 days a week. And then the last one, which is hard for all of us, which is stress. We really need to work on that stress because when we get stressed out, we release cancer-causing chemicals that can actually disrupt our hormones.
And if you'd like something you want verified, just email me at verify@wcnc.com.
Thank you. Well, tonight, Mecklenburg County is seeking solutions for people re-entering society after serving time.
The Criminal Justice Services Department says it is seeing success with this program that it's trying out. The program supplements folks' income during their first year out of prison.
WCNC Charlotte's Julia Kaufman shows us how it's changing one man's life.
From being in and out of jail his entire life to getting clean and building a life for himself, Philip Chappell says for the first time he feels a purpose thanks to reentry services.
I've had help.
A helping hand is something Chappell says is new for him.
That's all really I've ever needed. I've never had anybody try to help me before.
For the first time in his adult life, Chappell is building a future outside of the prison system.
I've never made it on parole, so it's an accomplishment.
He finished his latest sentence in May and does not plan to go back.
Drugs has always been my problem, and I don't have that problem anymore because I actually have something to look forward to every day instead of getting high.
That newfound hope is thanks to the support he's receiving through Mecklenburg County's reentry services.
They gave me somewhere to live, they gave me clothes, they gave me, the resources that I needed to get a job.
He's also part of a pilot program called Ramp Up, where Criminal Justice Services gives him $600 a month during his first year out of prison.
The first thing I bought was an electric bicycle.
The program's 60 participants are allowed to spend the money on things like transportation, rent, work supplies, and food.
What are those things that they're identifying as their needs or the things that they need to help them really kind of move forward and get on track for the long term?
CJS Director Sonia Harper says it's one piece of the puzzle for crime prevention.
Some of our lowest recidivism rates across all the services that we provide here at CJS are amongst those that we're able to assist with housing.
The helping hand, making a difference for Chappell in more ways than one.
This program here is saved my life, really.
The pilot program was launched under the county's Office of Equity and Inclusion. The CJS handles participants' monthly stipends to ensure the money is spent properly. In Uptown, Julia Kaufman, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, let's talk some weather now. Turning now to your WCNC Charlotte weather impact forecast. And this is actually a live look over Lake Norman. It's gorgeous right now, but I don't know if today would be the day to take that boat out. We're tracking some wet weather this afternoon. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris. Chris, what are we expecting when it comes to that rain today, man?
It really is 2 to 6 that we see most of the rain across the entire area miles. So that means if you have any opportunity, any plans, I think especially for Charlotte, it's narrowed down to about 3 to 5, meaning most of the afternoon hours are actually going to stay dry for you. Now, we are going to see a lot more cloud cover as we continue hour by hour closer to that rain event. 74 degrees is the forecasted high for today. 75 in Lancaster, 77 in Schwab. Still warm. At least we have that. Much cooler in the mountains, though. And the big difference here is the cold front. Cold front's already pushed on through. We actually have it centralized right here around the foothills. Now, what's going to happen is we have a little bit of rain. It looks like a lot of the energy is behind this. That doesn't always happen, but we're going to start to see things form right along this line. We're already starting to see some false reads, some Doppler garbage really picking up that we have some uplift already starting to form, and it's really starting after where we have that front, so right around the Shelby, Lincolnton, Salisbury area, down to everyone to the southeast, that we're going to have a chance for some thunderstorms. Let's get right to it. Over the next hour or so, that's where we're really going to start to see that rain move from the mountains to the foothills. By about 2 o'clock, I think you have active rain between Hickory, Lincolnton, over to Statesville. Charlotte should be dry up to that point. After 2, that's where we have our window of opportunity. That's why I'm opening it up. Let's actually detail it more about 2:30 to 5 o'clock. That's where I think that we have the best potential. By 5, maybe the eastern zone, say around Mint Hill, you're seeing the last of those showers. By 6 o'clock, I think most of it's gone. The only exception, this could linger through Rockingham, Cheraw area in our final 2 counties. And last little bit of maybe even a rain snow mix possible up in the high country. I'm going to narrow it down even further. Check out this model run. Seeing about 4 o'clock looks to be the sweetest hour. It's at this point that you might have some embedded thunderstorms, where most of us along this line might have a quick little spurt of rain and really see nothing of it. But others could have a quick downpour. That's a big difference from just maybe a few sprinkles to a light rain shower to a torrential downpour. It depends where you are, especially east of I-77, as I think this thing gains a lot more speed, a lot more oomph, allowing for a better chance for a thunderstorm, some heavier rain. Overall, our futurecast rainfall showing up to about 1/10 of an inch. For some areas, we'll see over 1/4 inch, depending where you see those yellows and those oranges pop up on the radar. Now we talk about the second issue, the winds. Winds are going to be breezy outside of any thunderstorm potential. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those thunderstorms could provide some gusts over 40 miles per hour. That's technically a strong wind, and we're going to continue to keep that range for today, overnight tonight, gusting from 30 to 40 miles per hour the higher you go up in elevation, and then things start to calm down through the overnight through Charlotte. We're heading into the windy months. March, April, categorically are the windiest months that we have in Charlotte history. Now our drought monitor comes out every Thursday. No improvement, but actually nothing has gotten worse. Everything pretty much stagnant. 89% of North Carolina is still under a dry to drought status, but fire danger is now an issue. The rain that we're going to see isn't enough to really help out any of the dry or drought-ridden conditions, so very high fire danger for today, and same thing for tomorrow for the Charlotte area. So keep that in mind. I think the winds are still going to be pretty breezy heading into the weekend as well. So don't do any burning if you don't need to. 72 degrees back again by Saturday. A great start to the Charlotte FC home opener, but then a dry cold front pushes through, bringing our highs back to the 50s. I need to point this out real quick. 26 degrees on Monday. That is going to be bone chilling compared to lows in the 50s that we had this morning, but then after that, back above freezing and even back to around 70 degrees. Another rain chance next Wednesday.
WCNC Weather Impact, your trusted source for winter weather and beyond.
We're committed to keeping you safe, informed, and weather aware.
From frost and freezes to snow, the WCNC Weather Impact team tells you the timing and the essentials you need to know. Get the up-to-date forecast on your schedule, always streaming on WCNC Plus.
Your Weather Impact team only on WCNC Charlotte.
Stream now on WCNC Plus.
And at the South Carolina State House, state lawmakers want to make sure every vape product sold in the state is registered in one state directory, meaning if it is not approved, it's out. But some vape shops say it would limit the supply chain impacting their businesses.
A lot of our sales for here at this location are going to be vapes, so it definitely wouldn't help us.
Katrina Severson works at Day and Night Vape and Gift Shop, one of many places that sell vape products that use words like cupcake and candy. But those products wouldn't be able to be sold in the state under the new bill. The bill would create a directory. Products have to be approved by the FDA and meet requirements for labeling and packaging and can't contain any banned substances. Senator Larry Grooms is one of the bill's sponsors.
Some of the more dangerous products are coming from China. They're unregulated, and some have been found to even contain fentanyl and other things that we know are very harmful and over long periods of time could be even lethal.
He says the registry would ensure all the products don't contain harmful ingredients.
I believe we pass the bill, a lot of the industry will clean itself up. It's not going to eliminate vaping, but at least we'll know where the products are coming from. We'll know that there's not lethal substances in them.
But with the new requirement, Severson says they're sure to see a limit on the supply chain.
If they were to limit the supplies and stuff, I think that would be a little bit harder to come back from.
And the bill has been approved by the subcommittee and will be headed to the full Medical Affairs Committee next month.
With us now, I'm Colin Mayfield. Over the weekend, there were 8 different reports of shootings into homes or cars, all while people were inside. These shootings come as CMPD says they've launched a pilot program called Switch.
So CMPD has launched a new initiative called the Switch. It allocates more resources, more investigators to deter crime. And you will hear from CMPD soon on this initiative.
City Councilwoman Dimple Ajmerja giving us the first bit of information about this pilot program after we have spent weeks trying to get more information from CMPD. Hopefully we'll learn more information from them. But WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker has spent the day hearing from those impacted by the violence we speak of. Austin, what are the people telling you?
Hey, Colin. So it's very easy to get wrapped up in the numbers of all of this. You know, we're talking about less than 2 days, 25 victims, and 8 separate reports about this. With this all being said, obviously, it's really about the people that this all impacts. And each person has a story and also a plea for help.
Several days later, a sign.
Thank God that it was there and not in one of the bedrooms where the kids were.
Of relief for Marcia.
More like pop, 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 pop.
Friday night, she says she and her 3 grandchildren were inside her North Charlotte home, and out of the blue, she heard a gunfire over 6 times.
And I woke up and I saw the blue lights outside the house. I didn't know what was going on.
She says her grandchildren were safe, but emotionally broken.
It's just brought back some terrors and things that he has night terrors and stuff, and it's not good.
Outside, a shattered window, glass left on the ground, and 4 bullet holes in her walls.
I want to get my family out of Charlotte.
Marcia is not alone.
Like, there's one.
Her neighbor's home also riddled with gunfire, along with 7 other reports of shootings into occupied dwellings in just 2 days. She says a physical sign of a problem.
My grandkids having to live through this it's tough.
A sigh of relief.
2 of them have bedrooms on the front side.
But a deep sigh, hoping for change.
Again, so for weeks we've been reaching out to CMPD for more information on this program, which is called Switch, and we didn't get any of our questions really answered, and each time our interview request has also been denied. That's why we went to the City Council trying to get more information. Now, because of this and what we've learned from Ajmerja, we do know a few other things, but more questions now. The first one is exactly how many investigators are being targeted towards Switch. Is there any information that they have thus far about how this is doing? And finally, is this supposed to stop crime before it happens or just arrest those who are criminals? But for now, we are live in Uptown. Austin Walker, WCNC Charlotte.
Austin, thank you. Tonight.
Question everything and verify with WCNC Charlotte. Taking questions, seeking experts for the answers, and sharing the knowledge to distinguish fact from fiction.
With this breaking news, we're seeing a lot of claims on social media.
No question left unanswered.
Police say this is true. All 4 of those shootings are connected.
Clearing up the confusion and bringing the truth into focus. WCNC Charlotte is guiding the way.
Of course, we're in the middle of tax season, and that means scammers are looking to take your refund. Between spoofing and robocalls, what should you look out for, I guess I should ask this time of year? WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
We received a message from a viewer sharing a voicemail stating they owed back taxes. You may have received one too, or a few.
And this is a notification call from U.S. Department of Financial Relief Services. I'm calling to inform you that now you can apply to have them forgiven with the Zero Tax Debt Program.
Are these real, and what should you do if you get one? To answer this, we went to the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Trade Commission. These voicemails include a phone number to call where your taxes may be forgiven. This is an attempt for you to share your personal information. The IRS says you will always get a letter in the mail from them first, not through email, text, or social media. You also won't hear from a private collection agency unless you have unpaid tax debts. The FTC says if you receive a call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, do not give out any personal information over the phone. And if you know or think you owe taxes, call the IRS to validate the call. You can also file a complaint with the FTC to report IRS scams. You can find more tips inside the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Just click on the story. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
It's time to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. Women tend to outlive men, but have you ever wondered why?
In the U.S., women live about 5 years longer than men. Let's connect the dots. Genetics may play a role. Research suggests that having two X chromosomes provides extra protection against aging. Hormones can also be a factor. That's because before menopause, women's immune systems tend to be stronger, helping them fight infections better. Lifestyle differences also matter. Women are less likely to smoke, drink heavily, or take dangerous risks. They also visit the doctor more often and have stronger social networks. External factors play a role as well. Men are more likely to work in dangerous jobs, experience violence, and suffer from stress-related diseases. But experts say there's no single reason why women live longer, and that's connecting the dots.
Every morning, your mission is to get ahead of traffic. Our mission is to save you time and get you there safe.
You can trust WCNC Charlotte to alert you to trouble spots impacting your commute. Stay on the move with WCNC Impact Traffic. WCNC Plus. Stream now.
The Department of Education is pulling the plug on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in schools. Not the first time we've heard this from the federal government. Institutions receiving federal funding now have until the end of the month to comply or risk losing that support. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre joining us live in studio with a look at what that means for students and educators here. Jesse, I'm sure a lot of people who are hearing this have many questions about what this means for them.
Absolutely. So many questions about all of this. Now, for many students, school isn't just a place to learn, it's where they find belonging. Now, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, or DEI, have helped create those spaces, ensuring all students feel seen and supported. Now, schools are left with a major decision: dismantle the DEI programs or face the financial consequences.
DEI aims to create safe, welcoming spaces for all students.
Not just students of color, not just LGBTQ plus students, not just students of faith or different backgrounds, but it's really about creating a way for all students to understand and to come together.
But a new directive from the U.S. Department of Education threatens to take that all away. A letter was sent to schools and universities last week, giving them 14 days to eliminate DEI initiatives, or else lose federal funding.
It's attempting to hobble or outright stop efforts by educators and administrators to provide and promote equal access to quality education.
The letter adds, school must end race-based preferences in admissions, hiring, scholarships, administrative support, and beyond. A directive critics like Shane Mendez-Winmeyer, a DEI higher education consultant, says is a step backwards.
And I really see this as a scare tactic in order to get, administrators in higher education just to decide, oh, well, we're going to take these actions, and really they don't have any direction on what to do and what not to do.
The biggest concern is that students and families that are already vulnerable, that are already at a disadvantage, that their circumstances are only going to get worse.
Supporters of the program like Molly Burkholder with PFLAG Charlotte says the program itself is misunderstood.
If you ask people outside of partisan politics, do you support inclusion? Do you want students to feel like they belong in school? Do you believe in principles like equity and equality? Most people are going to say yes.
With schools left in limbo, what happens next remains uncertain.
Are we talking about, a African-American cultural center on college campuses? Are we talking about the Jewish, the Hillel Center?
Right now, it's unclear how many schools will follow the directive and how many will push back. What is certain is that the future of DEI in education is on the line. Colin?
Certainly so.
Well, as we celebrate Black History Month, we're taking a look at how a groundbreaking leader is making history right here in Charlotte.
As WCNC Charlotte's Jane Monreal shows us, Dr. Shantae Williams isn't just breaking barriers, she's transforming one of the Southeast's oldest cultural institutions.
Inside Blumenthal's Belk Theater, the stage is set for more than just a show. It's set for change.
You know, the theater is where we make the magic happen. So yes, my second home.
Last year, Dr. Shantae Williams stepped into her role as General Director of Opera Carolina, becoming not just the first woman, but also the first Black woman to lead the organization in its 75-year history.
I'm in awe of it every day.
But Williams isn't just making history, she's reshaping it. The CEO of venture capital firm Black Pearl is bringing her business acumen to the local art scene.
And of course, I'll be raising money because it takes, funding to fill this theater and to sell all these seats. But I am really excited about really just spreading the word and telling the stories that are really impactful to Charlotte.
The Charlotte native's journey to opera began unexpectedly as a grad student at Ohio State University, where an advisor's collection of CDs sparked an unexpected passion.
Well, you grew up in the church. And I said, I did. And he says, all music can move you. All music can make you, it tells a story, it connects you. It's about love, it's about death, it's about passion, and that's what you're feeling with the opera. And after that, I was hooked.
Today, that passion is inspiring a new generation.
There are people now that will come into the opera space in this city and will say, oh, I'm an opera lady now. This is for me. This is a place where I am welcome, and I'm really, really proud of that.
Taking her place in the front row to make Charlotte history.
I am always cognizant that we stand on the shoulders of the people who came before us and did the hard work. As hard as I think my job might be some days, there's somebody who broke down a different wall. There's somebody who had to ram through a different set of barriers. As long as we continue to remember that it's not about me, it's about we. And it's not even just a we as Black people, it's we as a people collectively. We have a much stronger voice together than we do separately.
In Uptown, Jane Monreal, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, for more on Black History Month, we've got it all month long. Make sure to check out WCNC Plus, especially tonight. Starting at 8, we'll take a look at Black Americans who have made an impact and those who have been trailblazers. Download WCNC Plus on Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV.
WCNC Weather Impact, your trusted source for winter weather and beyond. From frost and freezes to snow, get the up-to-date forecast on your schedule.
Your Weather Impact team only on WCNC Charlotte.
Stream now on WCNC Plus.
New here at 6, a Charlotte couple is celebrating the birth of their daughter after spending years struggling with fertility issues. We first met the couple last year when they were hopeful that new technology